Hello, this is going to be lesson 4.1a, and we are going to be talking about fractions for a while now for the next 5 or 6 lessons. So let me share my screen with you and we'll get started. So this is going to be adding fractions with like denominators and applying the greatest common factor to simplify. So like denominators means the same number on the bottom. So what will you be able to do at the end of this lesson? I can add fractions with like denominators. I can add mixed numbers with like denominators, and I can reduce fractions to simplest terms or lowest terms, means the same thing. So this is standard NS4. We'll be working in this for a bit. Find the greatest common factor of two whole numbers less than or equal to 100, which you all should know how to do now. And the least common multiple, which we've also covered, of two whole numbers less than or equal to 12. Use the distributive property to express the sum of two whole numbers with a common factor as a multiple of a sum of two whole numbers with no common factor. So we're working on fractions as it applies to the GCF and the LCM. I'm going to minimize myself so we can have a little bit of more space there. And let's begin with our lesson. So adding fractions with like denominators or the same denominators. So note that fractions can only be added together if they have the same denominator. If they don't have the same denominator, we're going to learn about that in our next lesson. You may also remember this a little bit from 5th grade. So here's a fraction, 1/4. What do I mean by the numerator and the denominator? Well, the numerator is the top number in the fraction. The denominator is the bottom number in a fraction. So if I had, for example, a pizza, let me try to make a circular pizza here. If I had a circular pizza here and I cut it into 4 pieces of equal size, I'm trying to make these as equal as possible, and I ate one of those pieces, color this in. I ate one piece here, the red piece. That would mean I have eaten one piece out of the 4 pieces that the pizza's cut into. So I would have eaten 1/4 of the pizza. That's how you get your fractions. If I were to eat 2 pieces, color in another piece here, then I would have eaten 2/4 of the pizza, or another way of saying that is 1/2 of the pizza. Okay, let me clear my drawings and let's continue. So the numerator is the top number, the denominator is the bottom number. So let's add these fractions together. We have 1/4 and 2/4. So these fractions can be added together just the way they are because they have the same denominator. They both have 4s. That means they're both cut into 4 pieces of equal size. We're talking about the same sized pieces. Only add the numerators when you're adding fractions. Never, never, never add the denominators together. So let's do that. So we're adding the numerators, the 1 right here, plus the 2 right here, the 2 top numbers. So 1 plus 2 equals, you guessed it, 3. What is my bottom? What is my denominator going to be? Remember, you're not adding the denominators together. It's just going to stay a 4, just like it was. It was a 1/4 and 2/4. So you add it together and you get 3/4. That is the answer to that adding fractions problem. Try another one. Remember, again, fractions can only be added together when they have the same denominator. So we have 2/6 plus 3/6. Can you guess what the number would be? What's the answer to that? Exactly, you add the 2 and the 3. The 6's are the same, so we can add them. Add the 2 and the 3 and we get 5. What's the bottom number? The bottom number, the denominator, is going to stay a 6. So the answer to that problem is 5/6. Let's try another one. 1/7 plus 4/7. Can we add them the way they are, these two fractions? Yes, because they have the same denominator. They're both 7. So we can just go ahead and add the top numbers, the numerators. So we're going to add 1 plus 4. Never add the bottom numbers, just the tops. Oops, I forgot to change that. That should say 1 plus 4. Occasionally I forget to do that. 1 plus 4 is equal to, hopefully I changed this one. Yes, 5. And what's my bottom number? My bottom number stays a 7, 5 sevenths. So 1 seventh plus 4 sevenths is 5 sevenths. Okay, this would be your turn. If you're following along on the quiz, you can go ahead and do the your turn questions on the quiz. Okay, let's continue. Handling improper fractions when adding fractions. Okay, what does that mean? What's an improper fraction? Let's define that first of all. So if I had 1/4, that is a proper fraction. Why is that a proper fraction? Because the top number, the numerator, is smaller than the bottom number, the denominator. This here would be an improper fraction. Why would this be an improper fraction? Because the top number, the numerator, is bigger than the bottom number, the denominator. And there's one other term you should know. What if I gave you this? 1 1/4. That is called a mixed number. Why is it called a mixed number? Because you have a whole number 1 and a fraction part 1/4. So it's mixed. It's mixed with a whole number and a fraction. Okay, so let's talk about improper fractions when we're adding together. So we have 4/8, and we're going to add 7/8 to that. So remember that, check the bottom numbers. Are the denominators both the same? Yes, they're both 8s. Okay, so we can just go ahead and add the numerators without having to change the fractions first. In our next lesson, we'll have to change the fractions because we're going to have different denominators. But right now we have the same denominators. So we're going to add the top numbers, just add the numerators. So let's add 7 plus 4, or 4 plus 7. What does that give you? Yes, 11. And what's my bottom number? 8, right? Just stays an 8. Now notice that my top number here is bigger than my bottom number. How can I cut a pizza into 8 pieces and eat 11 pieces? Something has to be fixed, right? We can't leave it. That's called an improper fraction. It's not proper. So what do we have to do? The top number is bigger than the bottom number, so it's called improper, an improper fraction. So improper fractions need to be converted into a mixed number. So we use our division box over here on our left here. And we're going to put the top number on the inside. What's the top number? 11. So we're going to take the 11 on the top and put it on the inside of our division house. And the denominator, the 8, that is going to be put on the outside of the division house. Moving it over there. And there it is. So now we do division. Does McDonald's serve burgers? Does McDonald's serve burgers? Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. That's what it stands for. So first we divide. So we have an 8, and we have to divide it into 11, or 11 divided by 8. How many times will 8 go into 11? It'll go in there 1 time. And that 1 is supposed to be over the 1 right here. It's a little bit off center a little, but it's technically supposed to be exactly over the second 1 because we took it into the whole 11. And then we multiply McDonald's. We're going to multiply 1 times 8. So let's do that. That'll give us 8. Then we do the subtract. So we're going to subtract 11 minus 8. What is 11 minus 8? Yes, that should be 3. And our last step is burgers or bring down. Are we going to bring anything down? Well, we have nothing here. Let me get my spotlight. We have nothing here to bring down. So we're going to take the 3, the remainder, and that's going to become the numerator of our mixed number, our fraction. So we're going to bring it up to the top. That's going to become the numerator. And what's our bottom number going to be? Well, it's going to stay 8, just like it's been. Not 11, it should be 8. Mrs. Claus, what are you doing? That's supposed to be an 8. There we go. So it should be 1 and 3/8. So we have converted 11/8 into 1 and 3/8. That is your answer, 1 and 3/8. Okay, let's try that one again. Okay. We have 6/9 plus 7/9. We check the denominator. They should both be the same before we can add them, and they are. They're both 9s. So we're going to add the numerators. 6 plus 7. 6 plus 7 is, you guessed it, 13. What's our bottom number? A 9. Stays the 9. Notice that this is called an improper fraction because the top number is bigger than the bottom number. So we need to convert our improper fraction into a mixed number. So we're going to put our division house here. And 13 is going to go where? On the inside or the outside of the division house? Let's see where it ends up. Where do you think it's going to be? You were correct in saying it was inside the house. The 13 goes inside. Numerator inside. Top number inside. Where's the 9 going to go? The denominator. I bet you've already guessed that one. There it goes. Right there. And then we can do our does McDonald's serve burgers? I'll put that up there again. Does McDonald's serve burgers? So first we divide. We're going to divide 9 into 13 here. How many times will 9 go into 13? Yes, it'll go 1 time. And that 1 is supposed to be over the 3. It's a little off center again. And then we do multiply. 9 times 1 is, yes, 9. And then we do subtract. 13 minus 9 is 4. And then we do burgers, bring down. Well, we don't have anything to bring down. So instead, we're going to take our remainder, 4, and make it the numerator of our fraction. What's going to be the bottom number? Hopefully this time the right number pops up. It should be a 9, yes. So our mixed number is 1 and 4/9. That is the same as 13/9. Only we fixed it and made it a mixed number. Why is it a mixed number? Because we have a whole number 1 and a fraction of 4/9. So that is the answer. 1 and 4/9. Okay, let's do another one. Improper fractions. Let's see, 22/23 plus 18/23. So we have to add just the top numbers. So the bottom numbers are both 23s. We checked that. So we can just go ahead and add the top numbers. So 22 plus 18. So if I'm struggling a little bit with 22 plus 18 as it's written, I can just over on the side of my paper somewhere, I can write 22 and 18, the two top numbers, and I can add them up this way because it's a little bit easier without, you don't make as many mistakes when the numbers get bigger. So 8 plus 2 is 10. I put down the 0 and I carry the 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 more is 4. So that should be 40. So that'll be my top number. 22 plus 18 equals 40. What's my bottom number? Yes, 23. It will just stay at 23. And now I notice that I have an improper fraction because the top number is bigger than the bottom number. So I have to change it into a mixed number. Okay, how do I do that? I make my little division house. What number goes on the inside, 40 or 23? Right, the numerator goes on the inside, 40. And then the 23 goes on the outside. And then we do our does McDonald's serve burgers? Make that a little bit bigger right away here. Does divide McDonald's multiply serve subtract burgers bring down. We're not really doing the bring down until we get to the decimal unit really. But we're going to actually bring up, aren't we? Because we're going to bring the remainder up. So how many 23s go into 40? Yes, just one, right? So that one should go over the 0 and the 40. And then we multiply 1 times 23. That should give us 23. Then we do subtract 40 minus 23. Now that's where it can get a little tricky, right? You have to remember to borrow. So how do we get 17? Well, you can't take 3 from 0. So the 4 gets borrowed from, and that becomes a 3. And the 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 3 is our 7. And then 3 minus 2 is 1. That's where we get our 17. What do we do with that remainder of 17? We bring it up to the top. It becomes the numerator of our fraction. What is the bottom? It stays a 23. So that answer is 1 and 17/23. So now it is going to be your turn. So if you're working on the quiz at the same time, go ahead and do the your turn section number 2. Okay, we are back. Reducing fractions to lowest terms. Okay, we're going to put some more stuff into this now. 1/6 plus 3/6. Add it together. We know that the bottom numbers are both 6, so we can add the numerators. So we add the 1 plus the 3, and we get 4. What's our bottom number? It just stays a 6. So now notice that 4/6 can be reduced. It needs to be put into what they call lowest terms, or also called simplifying. So you might say reduce the fraction. You might hear put the fraction in lowest terms. You might hear simplify the fraction. So what I have to do is to put the fraction in lowest terms, I have to divide both the numerator and the denominator by the greatest common factor. Do you remember how to find the greatest common factor? Well, you list all of the factors of 4. There's not too many. There's 1 times 4, and there's 2 times 2. So there's only really 3 factors of 4. And then you'd list the factors of 6. That would be 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. So then we take the common factors, the factors that are common to both. So we have a 1 that is common. We have a 2 that is common. And that's it, right? So which one is the greatest, 1 or 2? Right, the greatest common factor is going to be 2. So let's put that in there. So we're going to divide the top and the bottom by the same number. It has to be by the greatest common factor. Then the factor that goes into both 4 and 6. So there it is. We decided it was 2. So 2 will divide into 4 and into 6. So 4 divided by 2 equals 2, and 6 divided by 2 equals 3. So that is our lowest terms. 4/6 in lowest terms is equal to 2/3. So when we have fractions that you can divide a GCF into it, we have to do that and reduce our fractions. Let's try another one. So we have 2/10 plus 4/10. We check the bottom numbers. They are the same, so we can just start adding the top numbers. We add the 2 and the 4 together. 2 plus 4 equals, yes, it equals 6. What's our bottom number? 10. And now we have to reduce. So how do we do that? We find the greatest common factor of 6 and 10. We already found out the greatest common factor of 6. We had a factor of 1 and a factor of 6. 1 times 6, oops, and 2 times 3. There was no anything bigger than 6. And then the greatest common, or the common factors of 10, or just the factors of 10, is 1 times 10, comma, and 2 times 5. And then we circle what's common to both. Let's pick a different color here. I don't know, let's use orange. I don't use orange very often. Let's have some fun. Let's use orange. So we have common factors of 1, common factors of 2, and that's it. Which one is the greatest, 1 or 2? 2 is the greatest. So we're going to divide the top number 6 by 2 and the bottom number 10 by 2. So here we go. Let's divide. The fraction has to be put in lowest terms. We found the GCF to be 2. And 6 divided by 2 equals 3. And 10 divided by 2 equals 5. So 6/10 reduces down to 3/5. So in lowest terms, 6/10 is 3/5. That actually means that these two numbers are actually equivalent. That means they are equal. That's just another way of saying the same ratio, the same fraction. Okay, a fraction is a ratio. Let's do another one. 3/15 plus 2/15. Check the bottom numbers. Are the denominators the same? Yes, so we can just add them. We add the numerators, the 3 and the 2. 3 plus 2 equals 5, and the bottom number stays a, you guessed it, a 15. By now, you're getting pretty good at this. 5/15. This fraction needs to be put into lowest terms, or it needs to be simplified, or it needs to be reduced. Now, what would be the greatest common factor of 5 and 15? Well, what are the factors of 5? We got 1 and 5, and that's it, right? What are the factors of 15? Well, we got 1 times 15, and we have 3 times 5. Okay, now we got to circle the common factors. So let me grab my circle here. 1s are common to both. 5s are the same in both. Which one is the greatest common factor? Exactly, 5. So we're going to divide the top, the numerator by 5, and the denominator by 5. So let's go ahead and do that. Divide top and bottom by 5, the greatest common factor. And we get 5 divided by 5 equals 1, and 15 divided by 5 equals 3. So 5/15 in lowest terms is 1/3. That is the same ratio, the same fraction written differently. And notice how these numbers cannot be reduced any further. All right, now you get to try some of these, reducing some fractions. See you in a moment. Okay, welcome back. Are you doing the problems as we go? Let's continue. Improper fractions and lowest terms. So sometimes we can have both situations at once. We can have an improper fraction. We can have a fraction that needs to be reduced to lowest terms. So let's see how that works. We have 5/8 plus 7/8. Okay, check the bottom numbers. The denominators are the same. They're both 8. So we can just add our numerators. So we're going to add 5 and 7. 5 plus 7 equals 12. Bottom number is 8. Notice we have an improper fraction. Why? Because the top number of 12 is bigger than the bottom number of 8. So it is a fraction that needs to be put in lowest terms as well. So let's do that first. Not only is it improper, but it also can be reduced. So 12 and 8 divided by the greatest common factor. Well, let's put that over here for a moment. What are the factors of 12? 1 and 12. This one has a little bit more. 2 times 6 and 3 times, 4. Those are all the factors of 12. All the factors of 8, 1 times 8, 2 times 4. And that's it, right? Then we circle the common factors. So we're going to circle a 1. We're going to circle a 2. We're going to circle a 4. And that's it. So which one is the greatest common factor? Right, the 4 is the biggest. So we're going to pick a 4. So we're dividing the top and the bottom by 4, the greatest common factor. 12 divided by 4 equals 3, and 8 divided by 4 equals 2. We have now reduced our fraction to lowest terms. 12/8 in lowest terms is equal to 3/2, or 3/2. The top number is still bigger than the bottom number, so this improper fraction needs to be converted into a mixed number. How do we do that? We put our little division house right there. What number goes on the inside? The 3. I'm gonna move the 3 way over here. There it is. And the inside is the top number, the numerator. And the 2 is going to go on the outside. And then we divide. Does McDonald's serve burgers? Divide 2 into 3. How many 2's go into 3? Exactly 1. Then we multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. Then we subtract. 3 minus 2 equals 1. We take our remainder. We bring it up to the top. The 1 becomes the numerator of our fraction, and the bottom number stays a 2. So the final answer to this problem is 1 1/2. So 5/8 plus 7/8 is equal to 1 1/2. Okay, just adding a little bit more steps each time. Let's try another one. 20 21s plus 8 21s is equal to, well, the bottom numbers are both 21, so we add the top numbers, 20 and 8, 20, oh, I did it again. I forgot to change a number. This is a 20, and this is an 8. So 20 plus 8 is equal to 28. What's the bottom number? Stays a 21. So 28 21s. Can we reduce that? Is that reducible? Can you think of anything? Well, let's see if we can find the greatest common factor. Well, let's list all the factors of 28. We have 1 and 28. We have 2 and 14. Bet you didn't know that one off the top of your head, huh? And 3, nope, 4. Yeah, 4 times 7 is 28, right? Okay, there's the factors of 28. What about the factors of 21? Well, we have 1 and we have 21 and we have 3 times 7 is 21. So now we want to figure out which ones are common. So we have a 1 and a 7. Which one's the greatest, 1 or 7? 7, exactly. So we're going to divide the top and the bottom by 7. Oops. I want to keep this here because that was a mistake. This should be a 20 and this should be an 8. There we go. All right. Divide top and bottom by 7, the GCF. There it is. That equals 28 divided by 7 equals 4. 21 divided by 7 equals 3, 4/3. So 28 over 21 in lowest terms is 4/3. However, 4/3 is an improper fraction because the top number, 4, is bigger than the bottom number, 3. So we have to do what? Yes, we have to bring our division house over. There it is. And we have to put which number on the inside? I hope you said 4, because here it comes. And the outside number is a 3. Move that one over. There it comes. And there it is. How many 3's go into 4? 4 divided by 3 equals 1, 3. Multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract. 4 minus 3 is 1. What do we do with the remainder? Bring it up to the top. Make it the numerator of our fraction. What's the denominator? That stays a 3. So the final answer is 1 1/3. So 20 21s plus 8 21s is equal to 1 1/3. Ready to try one more? Let's do one more. Oh, there isn't one more. Okay, your turn to give this a try now, to put it all together. Adding fractions that are improper, and putting fractions in lowest terms. Okay. Now we get to add mixed numbers. Not too much different here. I'll show you a little bit here. So here we have a mixed number, 2 3/8 plus 5 1/8. How do we add these together? Well, we check that the denominators are the same. They are, they're both 8s. Then we add the numerators, the 3 plus the 1, and then we reduce the fraction to lowest terms. So 3 plus 1 is 4, so we have 4/8. Find the greatest common factor of 4 and 8. By now, I bet you know that by the top of your head here. 1 times 4 is 4, and 2 times 2 is 4. 8 is 1 times 8, and 2 times 4. And the greatest common factor between these is going to be the 4. So we're going to divide the top and the bottom by 4. 4 divided by 4 is going to give us 1. And 8 divided by 4 is going to give us 2. So 4/8 is the same as 1/2. We're not done yet. We have a couple more things, one more thing or so. We have to add the mixed numbers part, the whole numbers. So far we have added the fraction part. And that's what you always need to start with when you're adding and or subtracting fractions. You're going to always start with the fraction part. Add that first. Just like when you do regular adding, you add the ones column first. We're going to add the fractions column first. When we finish adding the fractions column, then we are going to add the whole number column right there. So add the whole numbers, 2 plus 5, 7, right? So now what? We have to combine our 7 with our 1/2 that we reduced there on the end. Combine the whole number with the reduced fraction. So the 7 and the 1/2 go together. The final answer is 7, and 1/2. That went really quick. The answer was 7 1/2. Okay, we'll show you another one. 3 4/18 plus 9 6/18. Add the fraction part first. Check that the denominators are the same and they're both 18. Add the numerators, 6 plus 4. That gives us 10/18. Now we can reduce 10/18. We have to find the greatest common factor. Well, we have a 1 and a 10 and a 2 and a 5. And for the 18, we have a 1 and an 18, a 2 and a 9, and a 3 and a 6. So we find the greatest common factor. What is the greatest common factor? Well, the 1s are the same, the 2s are the same, and that's it. So the 2 is the greatest common factor. So we're going to divide the top and the bottom by 2. 10 divided by 2 equals 5, and 18 divided by 2 equals 9. 5 nines is the lowest terms for 10/18. Now notice how the top number is smaller than the bottom number. So there is no improper fraction going on there, right? Our next step is to add the whole numbers. I'm trying to find my circle here. We're going to add the whole numbers next. 3 plus 9. Yes, 12. And then we're going to combine the 12 with our fraction part in lowest terms. 12 and 5 ninths is equal to 12 and 5 ninths. Let's see if there's another one for us. I believe there is. One more to try. 2 and 7 ninths plus 1 and 5 ninths. I would encourage you to pause the video and try this one yourself. And then press play again and see if you got it right. Okay, we are going to check the denominators. They are both nines, so we can add the numerators. 7 plus 5. That should give us 12 ninths. Okay, notice that 12 ninths can be reduced. We need to find the greatest common factor. So the factors of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. 3 times 4 is 12, 2 times 6 is 12, and 1 times 12 is 12. 9 just has 1, 9, 1 times 9, and 3 times 3. Only list the 3 once. Which factors are common? I can change colors here. The 1s are common. The 3s are common. And that's it. So the greatest common factor is going to be, yes, a 3. So divide 12 and 9 by 3. Remember, you have to divide the top and the bottom by the same number. So 12 divided by 3 equals 4, and 9 divided by 3 equals 3. Okay, this time we do have an improper fraction, right? Why? Because the top number is bigger than the bottom number. So what are we going to do about that? Well, we have to convert it to a mixed number. So there's our division house. We're going to put the 4 on the inside and the 3 on the outside, and we're going to do our does McDonald's serve burgers. Divide. 3 goes into 4 one time. Multiply. 3 times 1 is 3. Subtract. 4 minus 3 is 1. What do we do with the remainder? We bring it up to the top. Becomes the numerator of our fraction. What's the bottom number? Exactly, it's 3. 1 and 1/3. Are we done? Did we answer the question? No, why? What did we forget about? We forgot that we've got these whole numbers here. We got to add them yet. So let's see what we do about that. So now we have to add the whole numbers. 2 plus 1. What is 2 plus 1? 3. Okay, are we done now? No. Are we going to add together this 3 and this 4/3 like we did before? No, we are not. Why not? Because we have an improper fraction, and we converted 4/3 into that, right? So we can't just combine those now. So we have to add this whole number 1. Get my circle out again here. To add this whole number 1 to this whole number 3 that we have right there. Because they're both whole numbers, right? So that arrow is supposed to be pointing to the 3. So we add the 1 there. 3 plus 1. That gives us a whole number of 4. And what's left is our 1/3. Combine the whole number with the reduced fraction. So we combine the 4 and the 1/3. So the final answer is 4 and 1/3. Phew, adding a lot of steps, but I think we got it. We just have to do it one step at a time. It's not as bad as it seems. I think there's another one. Let's see. Get to see it again here. 3 and 15/16 plus 4 and 3/16. Check the numerator, or check the denominators. They're both 16. So we can just add the numerators. We add 15 plus 3, we get 18. The bottom number stays as 16. And now we have to find the greatest common factor of 18 and 16. And by the way, guys, if you don't figure out the greatest common factor, but if you just figure out a common factor, you can still keep reducing when you're done and you'll be fine. So finding the greatest common factor is less steps, but if you can only notice that 2 goes into 18 and 16, that's okay, because you can, I think that only 2 does go into it anyways, but sometimes you can have a bigger number that'll go into it. This one would just be 1 and 18. Yeah, it is only going to be a 2 anyways, I think. 2 and 9, and then 3 times 6 is 18. And then 16 is going to be 1 times 16, 2 times 8, and 4 times 4. And the greatest common factor of both is 1 and 2. And that's it. So it is going to be a 2 this time. So let's use the 2. So 18 divided by 2 and 16 divided by 2 equals 9/8. 9/8 is an improper fraction. So we have to change it into a mixed number. There is our house. Put the 9 on the inside. Put the 8 on the outside. Don't get that mixed up. Always keep that straight. How many 8s go into 9? 1. Multiply 8 times 1 is 8. Subtract 9 minus 8 is 1. What do we do with the remainder? Bring it to the top. Becomes the top number of the numerator. What's the bottom number? 8. We have 1 and 1/8. Are we done? No, because we can't forget about our whole numbers. So then we add 3 plus 4. That will give us 7. Now what do we do? Are we done? We have to add the whole number 1 to the whole number 7. So 1 plus 7, or 7 plus 1 is 8. So we have 8 wholes, and then the 1/8 gets put with that. So we combine the 8 and the 1/8, and our answer is 8 and 1/8. Oh, this is fun stuff, isn't it? Okay, now you get to try and put it all together, and I will see you back in a moment. Okay, we are now, oops, forgot to put in there I am. I forgot to put in the animation there. Okay, focusing on higher order thinking. There's our thinking guy there. Can these two fractions be added together? 1/7 plus 2/8. No, not in their present form, because the denominators are different. Notice how the 7 is not the same as the 8. So we can't just add the numerators because the numbers on the bottom are different. The fractions first have to be converted to using the least common multiple of the denominators to find a new common denominator. And then we can add the fraction. So that's the focus of our next lesson. So you don't have to worry about it in this lesson, but in the next lesson, we're going to add some more steps. So with that said, you can look on Google Classroom and your homework will be there. See you soon. Bye.